Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan Calixto, and today is Tuesday, May 6th. You are now watching Open, a program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. Don't forget to stay connected with us via social media at BronxNet TV. This year, Bronx Week is starting on May 5th and will continue on until May 18th. At the center of this event is the signature celebration of Bronx Week known as the Bronx Ball, which is taking place on Saturday, May 17th. Joining me now to share more about this event is the president of Bronx Economic Development Corporation, Rob Walsh. Rob, welcome.
Yeah, well, it's good to be with you again.
Yeah, I'm glad to speak with you. I mean, exciting moments as well as we're gearing up for Bronx Week. So before we dive deep into this week, or almost 2 weeks of celebration and the Bronx Ball.
It's the longest week of the year.
Yeah, it's something that we look forward to. With that, I mean, talk to me a little bit about this collaboration, of course, between the Bronx Economic Development Corporation and the Bronx Tourism Council to bring something like this together.
Well, that's great, and we're fortunate. We have a Julius Strick that heads it up. He works hand in hand with me on so many different events, not only during Bronx Week and the Bronx Ball and all the activities that surround that, but all through the year. We just finished a terrific restaurant week where we had 71 restaurants, the largest of its kind. And that was successful in bringing people together. We'll have fireworks during the summer. We have the largest free bike event in the fall, Tour de Bronx. So yes, Bronx Week is one of the events, but we have a number of other signature events that we work hand in hand with.
Yeah. When you talk about obviously this partnership throughout the year of these different events, you know, when we do focus on Bronx Week, how did this collaboration kind of come about and saying like, let's put something like this together for the community?
Well, I wish I could take credit for it. You know, it was not my idea. You know, I did a little bit of homework and research on this. There was actually a Bronx Day, if you could believe this, back in 1925. And it was Fernando Ferrer back in 1997 that said, let's do something to put our best foot forward for the Bronx and highlight the very best, our cultural institutions, our colleges, universities, our small businesses. And if you go up to the concourse, you see the bright now blue signs, 135 of them that stretch from 170th Street down to 138th Street, of folks from the Bronx, of all different artists and sports figures that we have recognized during Bronx Week and the Bronx and the Bronx Ball.
Yeah, you talk about obviously these different staples now that we know as Bronx Week, but having gone from being just a day to a multiple day celebration, what do you say makes it special for Bronxites in our community?
That's a great question. I think the borough president Vanessa L. Gibson talks about this quite a bit. It's not just about the folks who are high profile. It's our teachers. It's the folks who are in labor. It is our youth, our cultural institutions. We just created something called the People's Choice Award to highlight an unsung hero. In the past 2 years, it's been a teacher the first year, and then someone from health services. This year, we're focusing on the arts and media. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet. You'll be happy about it, though. You know, and that is a way of bringing together the many neighborhoods that make up the Bronx.
Yeah, I do like, I mean, you gave us a great tease right there about, you know, this People's Choice Award.
That's right.
Focusing on media and the arts. What does that say, being able to focus on this category about the cultural landscape in our community as well, and our borough?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I like to look at where you're seeing growth and where are you seeing growth and what is re-energizing our neighborhoods throughout the Bronx. And one of them is the arts and the other is media. BronxNet opened up in the South Bronx. That is a anchor that we could build around. You know, I think about places like Bronx Create Hub that has 90 units of workspaces for artists who are, you know, putting a stake in the ground and growing their businesses, and that creates jobs and that creates activities, and it enlivens and energizes, you know, places. It's interesting to me now of seeing many more tourists who are coming up to the Bronx to kick the tires, if you will.
Yeah.
To look at some of the interesting things that are taking place in Mott Haven, that's happening in Castle Hill and so many other places. And that's what we want to do, grow those small businesses so they become bigger.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is such a central part for creators and like you mentioned, even artists at that. For local businesses and artists, how do they get involved with something like a Bronx Week?
It's a great, Bronx Week starts today, May 6th, and goes through May 18th. On that last day at Marshall Parkway, we will be celebrating the artists through a festival, through music, and through events that take place. If you look at our website, I need to plug it, it's ilovethebronx.com. You'll see a collection of events that are, and many of them are free events that are taking place. We're not only highlighting the ones that we're organizing, but the ones that are coming out of other groups, and I think that's an important part of it.
Yeah. Now, of course, I mean, you mentioned it, multiple events, multiple celebrations, some of them free even, which is amazing to hear at that for the community. But then we also have this crown jewel, this staple event known as the Bronx Ball. Talk to me a little bit about, obviously, in its 53rd annual celebration, what kind of makes this a special event for our community as well?
Can you believe that, right? One of the things we do every year is we move it around to different places. So last year we were in an old manufacturing site. The year before that was the Bronx Zoo. This year we've taken and re-energized what was an old supermarket on East Chester Road. And we're fortunate we have Rhonda James. You know Rhonda. And Rhonda is magical, the work she does. And we will be having art, and we'll have fashion, and we'll be taking a place, re-energizing it, and bringing together hundreds of folks to celebrate the new additions to the Walk of Fame. We will be highlighting and giving awards on tourism. The borough president will be there to do that. We will be giving a key to the borough, and I can't tell you any of the. I'm dying to tell you the names. I really
we want to know, but we get it. The suspense.
And I think that's part of it. I think that's the fun part of it. And you look around that room, and people are having a good time. They're dancing and they're getting together. And what I've noticed, in the last couple of years, in many ways, it's a reunion.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about also these categories, just like we were talking about the People's Choice Awards, but now also at the Bronx Ball being celebrated, the Bronx Walk of Fame, the key to the borough. How important is it to celebrate these maybe unsung heroes, maybe people who don't sometimes get the spotlight or are on the spotlight but aren't recognized in this way by their borough? Why is that important to have this type of recognition, you'd say?
I think it's important. I served, as you know, for 12 years as the Small Business Services Commissioner, for the City of New York. And I think when you think about the smaller things, the mom and pop shops, the art galleries, the folks who are making a difference in our neighborhoods, this is what adds character. This is what builds neighborhoods. This is what makes our city strong, and this is what makes New York such a special place. To recognize not only the largest anchors, and in our borough it's the Bronx Zoo and the Botanical Gardens, but the ones that are making a difference on the front lines. And I think that has been the real emphasis of the work that we do, the work that the Tourism Council does, and the work that the borough president does, is to put those individuals and those organizations front and center. It's the reason why today we're having the celebration to kick things off at the Museum of Art that is being rebuilt on the concourse.
Wow. Yeah, and I mean, I think with that as well, right, you're mentioning this new location as well that we have here, that some people are maybe even just for the first time discovering it. How important is it, these locations as well, that you choose to have Bronx Week in, you'd say?
Well, it highlights growth. It highlights energy. It sends a message. And too often we read the tabloids, and it's the negative about our city, our borough. And it's a way of putting forward the positive energy and activity that's taking place in the Bronx.
Yeah. Now, of course, you've given us so many great teasers that we can look forward to. If people want to be a part of this fun, where can they go? Let's plug it one more time.
Let's go back to that website, ilovethebronx.com. They will find a collection of activities, and I would say not just for Bronx Week, but all year round. We're a lot more active on social media. We're active on Instagram. We are constantly, highlighting the good that is taking place in the Bronx.
Yeah. Something earlier, too, that you mentioned was kind of how this opportunity to showcase these local businesses, these mom and pop shops, these local heroes that we have as well. Having something like a Bronx Week, how does that support the mission of the BXEDC, the Bronx Tourism Council? How does that kind of help that mission and that kind of support get out there more?
Well, that's another great question. We're teaming up with the BronxNet right now on something called the BX Factor, where we're taking 5 startup entrepreneurs in a pitch contest, and we're highlighting their work. We're going to give a $15,000 prize at the end of this. To me, I end up meeting some really special people who I had not met before, who are doing some great things and want to grow in the Bronx. And in some cases, those folks need capital. We also do that. We do low interest loans. So it gives us a picture, if you will, into what is taking place in the Bronx and what is growing. And I think for many people, it's like, wow, I can't believe this architectural firm or this technology firm or this new bakery has opened up in the Bronx. I need to go there and see it.
Yeah. Now, of course, as we are wrapping up as well, Rob, you know, a quick little overview. You've been a part of Bronx Week. You've been a part of seeing this grow into what it is now. What is your favorite part about getting to do something like this every year?
Well, for me, it's every time I go out to a different neighborhood, I see something differently, and often through somebody else's eyes. A new shop that has opened up, a new individual that is making a difference. Recently, I was introduced to the Renaissance Youth Center that serves 4,000, youth in the Bronx. That to me is special. It's around every corner. There is something new and exciting taking place in the Bronx.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, like you mentioned, just that special focus in itself, but Bronx Week in itself focuses on so many different special parts of the Bronx. So we're excited and we're looking forward to it.
And we're grateful to the BronxNet for being a partner of it. We really are. You guys are high energy on this, and it helps us quite a bit. So thank you.
Definitely. Well, again, thank you so much, Rob, for being here with us today.
Appreciate it.
Now, to learn more about the Bronx Ball, please visit the website ilovethebronx.com. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Open after this.